Hey friends, welcome to Liseybelle Laine. I am Elise, and this is the space that I'm creating to share with you the things that I am making, the things that I'm learning, and just sort of generally what I'm up to. And I'm really excited to be getting started today. So, first off, a little bit about me. My name is Elise, like I said. I am a mental health social worker. And I've got this sweet cat. Her name is Layla. While we're doing introductions, Layla, say hi. She's a little unsure about being a star, but I'm sure she'll be joining us for lots of future videos. So, yeah, I live in Norman, Oklahoma, and I'm here with my husband and our cat. My husband's a librarian and I'm a social worker, so we're all about the public service. And let me tell you a little bit about the name of the channel. So, like I said, my name is Elise, but my middle name is Mirabelle. So growing up, I had the nickname Liseybelle. Pretty much only my mom has ever called me that in real life, but it is my Instagram handle. And so I felt like it would be perfect to incorporate in the name of this channel and this space. Laine is sort of a play on words, so I liked the idea of this being a place, being a space that we're creating together. And so Liseybelle Laine, like a little street place name. And then I started thinking about the word Laine, L-A-I-N-E, the way I have it styled for this channel. And in French, laine, and Norwegian, lena, it means wool or yarn. And it felt like the perfect blending of kind of what I was going for. So I've always loved French. I took several years of French in high school. And yeah, I was just really excited to get to incorporate a little bit of that double meaning that, like, this is a place, this is a lane, and it's also about wool and crafts and fiber arts. So that's a little bit about who I am and about how the name of the channel originated. And you've met Layla, who decided this was the perfect spot for a bath today. Look at her. Oh, the prettiest, cuddliest, sweetest cat. And the last thing I wanted to do today is sort of fill you in about the kinds of things that are going to be coming on the channel because I'm really excited. So I am a person with many hobbies, most of them fiber related. So I spend a lot of time knitting. I honestly couldn't tell you how old I was when I learned how to knit. I was young. And most of my life I would knit in the winters as I was growing up, kind of like it would get cold outside, I would knit a scarf, and then I would put knitting away for the rest of the year. In 2017, we moved to Boston for my graduate school to get my master's in social work. And I realized I needed more coping skills to get through school. Before that, reading was one of my main coping skills. And for anyone who's ever been through graduate school, it kind of kills your love for reading for a while. And so I picked up my knitting that winter of 2017, 2018, and have not put it down since for more than a few weeks at a time. And those few weeks are usually when I'm super preoccupied with one of my other fiber-related hobbies. So in that time, I started really developing my knitting skills, going from knitting like rectangles or tube cowls to knitting socks and sweaters and hats and shawls and lace and cables and all kinds of more complicated techniques. And I kind of, for a while, it's like each new project I picked had a new skill to kind of push me. Okay, now I want to learn lace. Now I want to learn brioche. And there are always new things to learn with knitting, so I'm definitely not at the end of that journey, but I feel very proficient. Which, speaking of, this sweater I knit This is called the Poet Sweater by Sari Nordlund, and it was really, really challenging because of the lace texture. I knit it in, I want to say Berroco. I'll put the name of the yarn in the show notes. I'm on my first episode and I already have forgotten what I made. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this pullover and feel really special whenever I wear it. So definitely have developed my knitting skills, and then it's sort of like a rabbit hole, right? For those of you who are crafters or fiber artists, you know that you start out knitting and then you think, oh, well, what if I learned how to spin the yarn? And so I bought a drop spindle when we were in Boston and got a little bit of fiber and started spinning chunky, uneven hand spun and got better at that and thought, oh, in years from now, I'll buy a spinning wheel. And years from now turned into a couple months, and I found one for sale up in Portland, Maine. And so I sort of cajoled my husband into making that purchase and driving up to Portland with me to pick up the new spinning wheel. And so then I was off to the races with spinning, learned all different kinds of fibers and spinning techniques. And then, you think, oh, well, what would it be like to weave with this yarn? And so I bought an Ashford 16-inch sample at Rigid Heddle loom and started playing with weave structures. And I have pushed that little loom kind of to the limits of what a Rigid Heddle is made to do. Because then I was like, well, what if I could figure out how to weave instead of just plain weave? I could do more complicated patterns and use like multiple shafts. So I rigged up all of these string heddles and was weaving. And if you are here because you know me and not because you know fiber arts, I promise I'm going to explain a lot more of the things that I'm talking about right now in future videos. I'm really excited to share about what these different things are and kind of be a little bit educational about the things that I make, because people are always so curious and have so many questions, and I am really excited to have a platform to share all of that. My grandmother was a quilter, prolific, and is still a quilter. Although these days she does it less and on a different scope than what she used to do. And I recently went to help clean out her sewing room and really got inspired and sort of felt the weight of carrying on what it seems is a family like heritage, right? Like her mother quilted and she taught me when I was a child, and bringing home some of the things and her tools, I felt very burdened and a little bit like it was helping me to process my own grief about how our relationship looks different. And she's in an assisted living now, and for the first time didn't recognize me when I went. And I think the arts and making can be such powerful tools in our healing, right? Like knitting and spinning, they just soothe my anxiety. Quilting helps me process my grief and feel connected to the women who have come before me and parts of my life that were like beautiful moments in my childhood that won't ever come back. It's not going to be that way ever again, and that's okay. Life moves on, but quilting helps me feel connected back to those seasons of life and to those versions of people who loved me when I was young. And the same with knitting. My mom was a prolific knitter and for a while did like knit commissions that she sold, which I remember thinking like, this is so cool. She had these embossed stickers she would put on the tissue paper she wrapped up her knits with. And she's the one who taught me how to knit. And so much of my crafting feels like a connection to my own heritage, back to where I come from and the women who helped make me who I am. I recently have also started exploring embroidery and other crafts along with that. I toy with dyeing fiber and fabric and yarn. But it's not something that I think is ever going to be my main hobby. It's sort of like a means to an end. Like if I need something to be a different color, then I definitely have the tools and a little bit of the experience to do fiber dyeing. And I also do some garment sewing, although that's definitely a big learning curve, how to make and tailor garments to fit well. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to share all of these things. And then, there's other little fringe things like, I want a wall hanging for my new home. I guess I'm going to learn macrame. And then a friend commissioned another macrame piece. And so I've learned some of the basic macrame knots. I'm by no means an expert. I'm just a dabbler, and that's okay. And then I also have other hobbies, believe it or not, that are not fiber related. I have an excessive number of houseplants. You can see one of them right here. And so I'm excited in the coming weeks to share a little bit about like repotting, and I'm getting ready to bring in the plants that have been outside for the summer. And so I'll show you how I kind of clean them up and get them ready for the overwintering indoors. What else do I do? We'll find out. We'll find out on this journey together. I just kind of wanted this to be a space where I can bring you along for whatever I'm up to at any particular point. In the non sort of hobby world, professionally and spiritually, I'm really passionate about issues related to justice. I feel very deeply that my faith as a Christian calls me to do the work of making sure that everyone feels loved and welcomed into the kingdom of God. I know Christianity, for some people, comes with a lot of baggage, a lot of church hurt, and a lot of pain, and I feel so much compassion and sorrow for stories like that. So I don't want anyone to worry that this is a space where you're not going to be seen and loved and welcomed for who you are. I will say more about that as we go, I'm sure, but I don't want to overburden you here in this little welcome video with too many of my views and beliefs, but they're a part of me and they're inseparable from me. So if you're here and you think, ooh, I don't really want to hear about justice or faith, then this may not be the place for you. And I'm okay with that. I hope you'll stay and listen, because I think we learn a lot from listening to people, even if we don't see eye to eye with them on everything that we believe. So I hope you'll stay. I hope you'll listen. But if not, no worries. I'm sure there's someone out there who is a better fit for you than me, and that's okay. It really is. For those of you who are here for all of it, for all of me, because that's really what it feels like. It feels like a space for me to just share about who I am and what I do and what I'm working through. I'm also passionate about mental health, helping people find mental health, and I tend to believe that vulnerability is a really important tool in working towards wellness and community. So I probably will be vulnerable about who I am and what I'm going through and what's right now. My plan is to post weekly on Fridays. We'll see how that goes and if it feels like a sustainable pace for me. So this video is going up today, and then I'll be back with a project of some sort for next week. Here, as we get started, I'm going to have some projects that are just start to finish, like here's what I'm working on, here's how I made it, here's what it's for. And then I'm also planning to have some sort of like retrospective, here are sweaters that I've made, and here's what the process was like for them. Because I've made a lot of things in the past that I can't really show you in progress because they're done now. So projects going forward, you'll get to see the progress and the process with me. And then the things that I've already made, like this lovely poet sweater, I will share with you about the history of it. I'll tell you what the yarn is, because I did forget, and then kind of can go over like how it's worn and if I would change anything and that sort of thing. So I'm really excited. I hope you're excited too. I get lots of questions about all of these different hobbies, and so I thought it would be fun to just create a space where we can all kind of share about them. So please comment below and let me know what you're excited to see. And genuinely, at this point, I'm starting my channel. I'm brand new. Tell me anything you're thinking about. Let me know. I'm really excited to hear from you, and I desperately want this to be a conversational space where we have a relationship that goes both ways. It's not just you consuming the things that I'm making, but it's also me engaging with you and hearing what you have to say. So I would love if you would comment below. And then I have to ask, would you subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can help me to grow this channel and grow this project and help it reach more people? If not, no worries. I'm not mad about it. I'm really excited and really excited to see where this goes and what it might turn into. Let's go on this journey together, friends. I'll see you next week.